Good morning, everybody. Welcome to yet another Sunday here in the garden. I think this week, since I kind of skipped the aquaponics last week, we're going to take a look around and see what's growing on in the greenhouse. Good look at the shrine. It's not too hot out, so we can take a look at those peppers. And yeah, let's take a look at the aquaponics first, shall we? Quick shot of the fish having some breakfast. Really should get a polarizing filter or something so we don't have that glare issue. All things in time. There are higher priorities first. Anywho, so take a look at the ponics. There's that one elderberry that's still remaining in the aquaponic garden. Gonna have to move that sooner or later, but it seems pretty happy right now. In my Malabar spinach, you can tell the level of the iron and probably a few other deficiencies here in my garden, but it's grown all the way up the trellis and fallen over, looped back around, and getting friendly with the tomato again, so might be time to stretch that out. Like I said, definitely time to put some iron in there. Let's do that now, actually, before I forget. So this is what I use, just iron chelate, chelated iron, 7%. It's probably, you know, better things to use, but this is what I got at the time, and I haven't needed that much of it along the way, so this is still what I've got. And really adding this to the system is pretty simple. I just dump it in there. The fish kind of avoid it while it's initially in, but it doesn't seem to hurt the goldfish any. It's a good chance that it might have been what did in the koi, but could have been a lot of things that did in those koi, unfortunately. As a fish keeper, I just don't think I was ready for them yet. The other place I like to add iron to this particular system is I'll just put it right there at the intake for the bed. And hopefully the plants can suck it up nice and quick that way. This is that marketmore cucumber. I just kind of tucked in there, dirty aquaponic style. Sorry about the noise from the fan, but that's doing quite well too. Now, I found the beginning of a cucumber on there the other day. Let's see if I can find it now. Ah yes, there we go. That looks like the beginning of a cucumber to me anyway. Haven't grown many or any cucumbers here, so yeah, I really don't know. There sure are a lot of blossoms on this thing though, and being right by the window with the netting as the only thing to qualify as a screen, getting lots of pollinators coming through here and taking care of it, so that's pretty exciting. Down here I've got a couple of cuttings from the Bolivian freak peppers that haven't rooted, but they haven't wilted either. I do have some good news on pepper cuttings, and we will get to that in the frankenponics. Here is the pepper bed portion of the aquaponic garden. Seems to be coming along quite nicely. These Tabascos seem to be reacting very well to this aquaponics. Just fabulous. Never grown Tabasco peppers, so had plenty of Tabasco sauce, just never a fresh raw Tabasco pepper. Down here the Scotch bonnet's taking in, or taking up, or taking off, however you want to call it. It's pretty darn happy. Down here we've got that cherry bomb pepper. A couple that have died off along the way. But some new growth at the bottom, some new growth in there. We'll see what comes of that. Back behind the peppers, we've got those beets that I put in here. They seem to be doing quite well. Move forward, you. They seem to be doing fairly well. Down here we got those Cuban oregano clones. Those have definitely grown up since they were cut and tucked into the aquaponics. I just love how well this system works for cloning and rooting things. It's great. Absolutely great. Speaking of great, like, oh my, and stuff. Let me just get down in the chair so you can see this from the position I normally do. Sitting down here, you can truly get some idea of just how many fruit are sitting on here. And I'll be honest, we have taken quite a few of these off, because now that we know what to look for when they're ripe, basically that right there, we have discovered that I have a new favorite tomato, which is really awesome and interesting because 4 years ago, if you asked, I would have told you I hated tomatoes. Now look at me. But I mean, look at these things, right? This is not your average tomato, is it? I love this plant. But the flavor of this thing, for those of you who have some of these, or for those of you who might be lucky enough to receive some in the future, it's almost like a cross between a peach and a tomato. I know that's hard to believe, but I can't give you a better explanation. But they are fabulous. So, wait for that sort of peachy orange pink color, and we'll right off the vine, give it a quick rinse, and just chomp into that sucker. That's what Shocks and I have been doing, and oh yeah, it's good. It's good. Alright, so starting at the far end of the Aquaponics, here is a random tomato sucker that I kind of stuffed in there and forgot about. Still seems to be doing just fine. It's really interesting though, because there's very little, new water that makes it to this part of the reservoir bed, because it's really just a collection point, right? I did pull half the strawberries out of this gray bin here, and since the garlic has been removed from the gnome garden, I'll probably be putting the rest of these strawberry plants in there. If it stays cool enough today, I might just get that done today. This basil go back to where it wants to go. It's curling leaves, curling leaves. Got to get some Epsom salt into this system. Smell of this plant is just... Here, can you smell that? I can. Too bad you can't, but such is life. Oh, this is one of my happiest finds of the year. This is a volunteer seedling from a lemon balm. For those of you who have been following my channel for a while, you know I generally have a lemon balm plant going here somewhere in my aquaponics. In this season I didn't plant any, and was starting to kind of whine about that a little bit. I was doing some weeding in the gnome garden, and wouldn't you know, I found not one, but two of the little guys. So one's in the DWC, one's in the constant height. Speaking of the DWC, now I said I had some pepper news. That one died. This one, well, I'll be darned, I checked that yesterday, I saw those beautiful white roots on there, and I'm like, oh yeah, finally worked for one. So, maybe not the same kind of success rate that you would get with tomato suckers, but that could be, because I'm just cutting the ends off. I'm going to try and look on pepper plants for something that would be more like a sucker. For example, if we look on this jalapeno cutting that's in here rooting, this piece here is coming out of the same point like a tomato sucker would, so maybe that is my best option to try consistent rooting for peppers. So we'll see, but that rooted, oh, and that has been in there for almost a month. It hasn't exactly grown, but again, it hasn't died, so I'm thinking maybe it rooted. The fennel did not seem to like the Aquaponics experience, so maybe a proper flood and drain next time, or who knows, maybe it was just some bad fennel. I don't know. No experience with fennel. What else do we have going on here? We've got that lovage, seems to be doing quite well. Dirty style aquaponics here. Beside it we've got the lavender. It's finally getting some light. That poor red chili that I keep meaning to replace, and I don't know. It's still alive, I'll give it massive props for that. Bits of diatomaceous earth all over it from the last sprinkle because I found a bunch of aphids on there. It's another cutting from that Cuban oregano, which is good because the main plant seems to have died on me. Let's see here. The mint and the no power stuff is doing alright. I haven't gotten out here enough in this heat wave and you know, a lot of these things are suffering for that. It's the problem with the no power stuff, you know. If you don't have a big enough reservoir in there, it's just not going to have the water for in-between opportunities to get to it. Look at this oregano. This thing has survived so many years and so much abuse, but I think at this point, that's compost. Even the willow is starting to suffer. It's doing much better, but definitely suffering. So remember, no power aquaponics in a heat wave. Water that stuff several times a day. That mint does smell good when I bash it around, though. I love plants that give you happy aromas when you abuse them. Ha ha ha. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the ponics. Let's take a look at some of those individual peppers over there. Looks pretty nice from a distance, doesn't it? I think one of the peppers I'm probably the most excited about at the moment is this sand dollar here. I received these seeds in the mail. Many thanks yet again for those. But I am starting to get fruit forming, and I've never seen a sand dollar pepper. I'd never even heard of them before they came in the mail, so that is super exciting. I got some offshoots going on here. Not quite sure how I'm going to manage those, if I'm going to leave them going or what, but that is looking like a pretty happy plant. I have an arrow beside it. I've got some discoloring going on in the leaves, but a few fruit forming. Long red cayenne down there. The last, what is this, cherry bomb, I think? Yeah, last cherry bomb that still needs to be transplanted. Not looking happy. There's 2 Carolina Reapers from the last of the seeds. Looking alright, though. This little wee baba pepper. You know, I mean, it's a dwarf compared to its neighbor. But considering, you know, it was only just planted, it's doing okay. Here's one of the red ties. This is the shrine red tie. Got flower on the top. Plenty of fruit set, so we should be able to see some fruit on that in the next couple of weeks. And here we have one of the chocolate beauties, I believe. It's going to be really interesting when that starts to take some color. That poor little pepper is not doing very well. It says red tie, but I think that's a red cherry pepper. These little guys are all mini bells. Curious to see what comes of them. It's supposed to be like 4 or 5 different varieties in that seed pack, and they weren't individually marked, so I've kind of got to wait for them to fruit to know if I keep them or toss them. Just going to take this Kung Pao hybrid off the shelf so you can kind of see it by itself. Look at this beautiful pepper plant. Definitely needs a larger container. This is not a small pot variety pepper, but wow! Those of you who saw my photo blog post the other day saw the harvest from the Kung Pao hybrid in the front yard. That is absolutely beautiful. They're all ripening up quite nicely in the house, taking the red shades I love so much. A lot of them are probably destined to become fire salts from the sounds of things. So that should be cool. Yeah, Kung Pao hybrid. If you like hot peppers, this is it's a good producer. Alright, let's look at some of the ones on the table. This crimson hot pepper got transplanted to a slightly larger container, but not quite enough. Got a little wasp guest on it at the moment. Hang on, Mr. Buddy. Just stay there. Alright. Here we've got one of the long red cayennes. Lots of fruit starts on that one. A couple of geranium starts in the bottom too there. I guess I need to do some weeding in my pepper shrine. Here's that little blue. You can see some of the ones that I left on there are starting to change color. Pretty cool. Really enjoy this small container variety pepper. It's getting a little wild and bushy though. Might be time to do some pruning. Another crimson hot pepper there beside it. Looking good. What do we have here? This would be the lemon yellow hot pepper that I've got for the shrine. I did cut it back. It seems to be bushing out a little on the insanely side. Might have to do some more pruning there. There's the Alipu pepper. It's coming along nicely. There's a larger one there. That's coming along quite nicely. Lots of fruit starts and flowers on there. Moving over one more. There's another one of those Tabasco peppers that I got for 69 cents. Definitely going to get my money's worth there. Alright, next row. Here is one of the ghost peppers. I started from seeds. Received those seeds from a friend. And, you know, I'm hoping, just as they are, I suspect, that it breeds true. We've got another variety, or another example of the cherry bomb peppers here. Looking pretty nice. There's that 69-cent Scotch bonnet. Very happy with that, since pretty much all of my seedlings, since all of my Scotch bonnet seedlings have died. I'm really glad I found those two for 69 cents each. Over here we've got the chili red pepper, doing quite nicely. Beside it it claims we have a pimento, okay, but look at those peppers. And then look at the pepper that's on it. And look at those peppers. And look at that pepper. So I don't think it's actually a pimento pepper. Anybody want to throw out what they think that one is? It's the Padron pepper. Hasn't started to set any fruit yet, so I don't really know if it is what it claims to be. This one is another, claims to be a pimento, but that doesn't look like anything like the fruit that it shows. That almost looks like a pumpkin. That's cute. And here we've got the super chili. Oh, this is going to look awesome once these all start to go red. And the chichimeca beside it that I think might in fact be a super chili. I've got another one of those out front where the peppers look a lot more like these peppers as compared to which one's the super chili, which one's the chichimeca. Can you tell? I can't, and I planted them. Anyway, so the last one on the table here we've got is the orange fugo. This came in the same package with the red demon pepper seeds. And it appears to be, you know, one of those up-down things. The red demons are growing up, these orange fugos are growing down. This pepper is growing kind of wild though, like almost like a vine. Very scraggly, shooting off in all kinds of directions. No real form or stability to it. It's just growing. So I might need a trellis or something for this one. We will have to see. That's the fun and the adventure of this whole pepper shrine thing, right? Because each plant is a little bit different. And they all require slightly different things. And even though they're all peppers, they're all different. Sizes, shapes, heats, and yeah, requirements. Peppers. Alright everybody, well I need to wrap it up at this point because we have a huge bike race that's starting in town in about 10 minutes according to my watch. So since I don't want you all to have to deal with the screaming and the cheering and all of that noise in the background, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up for this week. Stay tuned throughout the week. I got a couple of interesting videos I'm hoping to get up, but we got a lot going on, so you never know what's going to happen ultimately. And yeah, alright, until I see you guys next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. Thanks for stopping by.